Hi, I'm Roy from Roy's Garage. Today I'm going to be working on a 1998 Toyota Tacoma SR5 4x4 3.4 liter standard shift. I'm going to show you how to replace the front pads, calipers, and rotors. These are the tools I'm going to be using today to do this job. A rubber mallet, 4-pound sledgehammer, 2 different type 1/2-inch impact wrenches. This one is stronger than this one. 17mm socket, 3/8 ratchet, 7/16 socket, 17mm wrench, 10mm wrench, 7/16 wrench, long nose plier, flat tip screwdriver, Phoenix brake flusher, air gun, brake clean, penetrating oil, bottle of water with a hole in it, anti-seize, and some ceramic grease. These are the parts I'm going to be using today to do this job. .3 brake fluid, front brake pads, front rotors, and front calipers. Okay, I'm going to be removing this bolt that bolts the brake hose to the caliper, and I'm going to be removing these 2 bolts that bolt this whole caliper to the spindle. So this guy is all rotten. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be shooting some penetrating oil. Hopefully we can get it off. And then there's 2 bolts, one here and one here. Okay, these bolts are really rotten. So I'm going to be using my impact wrench to take off the 2 mounting bolts. So I'm going to be using a stronger impact wrench to get these bolts off. So we're going to be removing the caliper. And I'll just be putting it up here for now. So now we're going to take off this rotor. This rotor looks like it's pretty rotten. So I'm going to be hammering it off. Shoot some penetrating oil. Shoot it all in the bolt holes, shoot them all around the hub. Let this thing sit a little while. Then I'm going to be getting my 4-pound mini sledgehammer. So I'm going to be pounding the rotor with my sledgehammer. Don't worry about gouging the rotor. We're going to be putting new rotors on. So I'm going to be cleaning this rotor with some brake clean. I want to get all the oil off. And if you notice, this is a coated rotor. So when you road test the vehicle, you might hear a grinding sound. Don't worry about it. That means the coating is coming off. So eventually the grinding sound is going to go away, then you'll be good to go. Okay, I'm going to be putting on the rotor, but before I do that, I'm going to be putting some anti-seize around this hub. That way so the rotor doesn't get stuck. Then I'm just going to hold the rotor on with 2 nuts so it doesn't wobble. So I'm going to be using this new caliper. This new caliper came with this new bolt that holds on the brake hose. So we're going to be reusing this. For now, we're going to be lubricating the caliper. Put a little grease around the piston. And some right here on the caliper. This is where the pad is going to contact. So going to be installing the caliper. I'm going to be reusing these old bolts. Okay, so I'm going to be installing the pads. If you notice, this pad has these two wear indicators over here. On this one goes on the inside. But before we put it in, I'm going to put a little bit ceramic grease on the outside of the pad. And then the outside, if you notice, there's a wear indicator over here. So this goes onto the leading edge of the rotor. So the rotor is spinning clockwise. So this goes on the leading edge. Put a little grease. Okay, so I'm going to be lubricating my pins. Slide this guy in. Okay, and this anti-rattler clip, we're going to be putting this on. This piece got to go on the bottom. Like that. On this one, they had this piece backwards. This piece supposed to be on this side. The reason is when you put it this way, your wheel is spinning clockwise. So this is pushing the pad against the caliper. If you went the opposite way, this piece would be pushing the pad upwards, and then there's going to have a gap between the pad and the caliper. So when you hit the brake, this pad will move forward and will make a clicking sound. So you need to have it this way, pushing down. So we're going to be putting these wires right into the pin. This is what holds the pin in. Just stick it in there, and this piece got to go into the hole, and that's what locks the pins in. So I'm going to disconnect my brake line, and I'm going to be transferring this to the new caliper. So when you bolt this up, make sure you use new washers. These washers came with the caliper. So now we're going to be gravity bleeding this caliper. So I'm going to be removing this rubber plug. I'll be opening up this bleeder screw and let gravity bleed this caliper. So just gotta wait until the fluid starts coming out. Okay, now the fluid is coming out. So with my rubber mallet, I'm just going to shock it. In case there's any air bubbles in here, it's going to break it up and hopefully come out. So now we're going to lock it up. Okay, so now I'm going to be flushing out the brakes. Okay, I'm going to be sucking out the old brake fluid from the master cylinder. So first I'm going to be removing, there's a screen in here. I'll be taking it out. So I'm going to be flushing out the brake. I'm going to be opening up the bleeder screw, and with my Phoenix brake flusher, I'm going to be pumping fresh fluid from the caliper up to the master. Can lock it up. So I'm going to be removing the fluid again. So I'm going to be topping off the brake fluid. Don't forget to put back your screen. This screen looks really dirty. So I'm going to be cleaning it with some brake clean. That's about the best it's going to be. I'm going to be removing a little bit brake fluid. Putting back my screen. So I'm going to start up the vehicle. So I'm going to be pumping the brakes. Don't pump it more than halfway. We're trying to seat the brake pads. Keep doing it until you feel pressure. Okay, so now I'm going to be pressurizing my brake pedal with my hood prop. So one side against the brake pedal, one side against the seat. So I'm going to be opening up the bleeder screw. Okay. So I'm going to pressurize the brake pedal again and try bleed it again. So I'm going to be opening up the bleeder screw again. We do it one more time. Looked like it had a little air in it. Okay, so I'm going to be opening up my bleeder screw again, checking for air. That looks good. Putting some water, blowing it down. Now we're going to pressurize the brake system, hold it for about 15-20 seconds and check for leaks. Okay, so everything looks dry and you're all good to go. So don't forget to top off your brake fluid before you road test. So that's how you replace front brake pads, calipers, and rotors. If you have any questions, comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up and I see you in the next video. Aloha.